Alrighty, you ready, girl? That big old scary truck freaks you out? Not too bad, right? We've been around it before. So I like to watch a lot of videos and stuff and pick up stuff. And she's been here. Harley's been here for a while, right? And so there's this guy. He was talking about why he doesn't do aggression boarding trains, right? And he says it's not a transferable thing, kind of like this fear thing. It's not a transferable thing. So she might go home and she might not be anything like this with the foster people because she's going to revert back to uh, the way she was in that environment, right? So when I first started, like anything reactivity, anytime they said anything about biting and blah, I was like, we got to do that in home. It's because it's something with you guys. However, in time, I've learned that what you can do though is you stop the practice of those behaviors and you give, like this dog, like Harley now has I didn't get into being able to do obedience work with her, which would have helped with her self-confidence. But she's one of the big things was going through thresholds. They had to stay way away from the door. I don't know if it was still that way or if they were telling me that's how it used to be and it's gotten better. Hopefully it would have gotten better by now. But she's still scared of thresholds, right? Going to doorways. So what she would do is she would fly through it real fast. And I just started stopping. So she would fly through it, she would hit the end of the leash, right? Just like an excitement thing, right? When they're excited and they run through the door, you just stop, they're gonna hit the end of the leash, they're gonna start slowing down for that. So now she will still speed up, right? But she still kind of settles down, right? It's a good girl. So anyways, there's that part of it. So everything everybody says is always true for them. Now other people have found other things, right? So as in, like the big part is then now the people have to do the work, right? I I don't think they had ever walked her because they were real worried about her being scared of everything. And she still does have stuff like when there's piles of stuff for the bulk trash pickup, um, and manhole covers on the ground. It's the weirdest thing, right? I guess because it's a different surface than she's used to, but she'll kind of try to go away from it. I just, right, so she starts wanting to kind of pull. I usually kind of let it slide a little bit unless she's pulling real hard. She's also pretty good with the boop boops, right? So a lot of people are worried about correcting uh, a fear response. Um, but it's not a fear response if she's just trying to pull away, right? Like this right here. Good girl. You see just a little finger tap. But that can also help when she is like kind of stuck in that brain. She's really good with just stopping for 5 seconds. That's my main thing. That's what I do. But there was one day that I checked it out. I probably should have tested her. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. I probably should have tested her with, like, after we made some progress and she understands that that means you got to settle down in those moments. I probably should have tested using leash pressure to do the obedient stuff, right? But then you weigh out the big picture, right? So she can gain some confidence from doing that stuff. But we've earned trust. Would that pressure then make that trust go backwards? Probably a little bit, right? So you would go backwards a little bit, but is the benefit of doing the obedience work outweigh that little bit of regression, right? To me, to me, she's not, it's not, it wouldn't be worth doing that, right? Because is the new owner going to care about doing that? Is the foster person going to care about, hey, sit, stay, right? And also, to me, it's all kind of whatever. I think in the confidence boost, the boost that you get from doing obedience work probably really isn't much. Now, the boost that she would get from dealing with other obstacles, that's really big, right? Like getting her to get over being freaked out about some obstacle, that would be a good one, right? Whereas learning to sit on a command, you know what I mean? The benefit of it really wouldn't be that much. I don't feel. Other people would probably say different. Opinion. This is mine. But I probably should have tested just to see if we could do it. I don't think she would have freaked out. She's used to having to give into the leash pressure. So it probably wasn't that big of a deal. Is that what I was going to talk about? I think so. And and then the different levels, right? It's kind of weird because Raider, I would say when I got Raider, my little Bichon, he was way worse than she is. Look at her, I think she's gonna poop. He was way worse than she is about stuff. Now she's held on to it longer, probably because she was older, right? So she came to me. She's already, are you 4 years old? Yeah, she's already 4 years old. So she's been practicing being scared of stuff for 4 years. Whereas when Raider came to me, he was 8 or 9 months old, right? So he hadn't practiced it that long. So I was able to start doing a lot of stuff, even though like when I got Raider, like just that grass right there blowing, it was like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. His was more of it was less of a trauma also. It was more of a not socialized and not exposed than a trauma thing. She is kind of more of a trauma thing because she got hit by a car and smashed her head. So that probably has something to do with being freaked out by a lot of stuff. She got a little bit of impaired vision, maybe, right? But it's just how you act to it, right? So, like when we took her to the vet people and the volunteer that drove us like, oh, baby, you don't have to be scared. That's actually worse for them. They don't understand that like a human does. If you're just calm and cool and something happens, hey, you're all right. That's it. And then they'll start getting over it. So what happens is we stay in that weird energy. And since we're in that weird energy, they end up not trusting us and not understanding that it's okay, even though we're trying to tell them that it's okay. Does that make sense? It's your the energy with which you do everything matters, and it depends on the dog, right? Yeah, good girls. Ain't that right? See, like this right here, just me standing here like this, and especially with me moving my finger like that, a month ago, she'd be trying to go way back, right? Just by the movements. Now she's okay because I just do nice, short, soft, calm tones. Everything's cool. Now she trusts me. I put her through a bunch of little, I call minor stressors. So now something that was super stressful for her, me sticking my hand on her head like that, that was really stressful for her not too long ago. Now she can handle it, right? If I would have tried to do that a month ago, I mean, even just a couple weeks ago, she was still a little bit flinchy if I would do that. But now I can do it. And so there's a little bit of a duck down, but it wasn't a flinch away. Does that make sense? And it comes from, I started underneath, and then I would go to the sides, and even in the back, and then I eventually came up here. But as people, we always want to go straight on their head. 10 minutes? That's too much, right? You ready to go poo-poo? You want some water? There's water over there.